I am back with another case study to help you understand that if most of your assets are in your 401k or an IRA, how should you convert to Roth? And should you convert to Roth? And when does it make sense to do so? You can see the last video I did right here on this case study, you guys really resonated with, and this was an example of someone who had about $2.5 million. So this is going to be similar to this example here, but it's going to be with a smaller case study and a younger couple. So if you're in your 50s, this is going to be the example for you. You can still learn no matter what age you're at. But if you want to see a real case study, we are about to hop right in, and it's going to be a lot of fun. If you don't already know, my name is Taublieb. I'm a certified financial planner. I am the host of the Early Retirement Podcast, and I'm the vice president here at Root. Now, if you're looking for guidance on tax strategy so you don't pay more than you need to, investing so that you don't run the risk of running out of money or leave money on the table, health insurance, which is a big reason people do not retire early, withdrawal rates, estate planning, you're in the right spot, and I invite you to subscribe. So let's hop right in. I'm going to show you this couple. I changed their names just for security purposes, but you can see they're 55 and 52. They have a child who's 16 years old, and here are their assets. They have $10,000, which is low for my liking, in their bank account, but then they have $1 million and it's all pre-tax. They don't have any Roth accounts. They don't have any brokerage accounts. I call a brokerage account a superhero because it allows you to bridge the gap from when you want to retire until 59 and a half, so you can pull income. So this 401k, an IRA, and then spouse has an IRA here. You can see they've got a property worth $550,000 and they've got a mortgage on that, but not too much. So you can see this is the couple. This is who we're working with. In terms of their goals, I went through a long conversation with them, and we might actually be posting it in the future, but they both said, look, we don't know how long we want to work, but maybe we both retire at 58. We don't hate our jobs, but we want to be smart about this and start enjoying our retirement. They wanted to plan conservatively for healthcare, but the truth is it might be a lot less than this. And I have an example that I'll be showing in a little bit as to why. In terms of their expenses, they're spending $6,000. That's what they would love to spend. So they want to spend $72,000 a year after taxes adjusted for inflation, in addition to $6,000 a year each for healthcare until Medicare hits. They've got some home improvements they want to do. They're paying for kids' college. So they've got some moving pieces here. In terms of what they're bringing in the door, and the income is the primary salary is $150,000, and then they have a side income that they actually work on together with about $40,000 a year conservatively, and then the other spouse is also working, bringing in $65,000 a year. Social Security, haven't got to that conversation in depth with them yet, but we have some estimates in there. It's going to be shifting because Social Security is based on your 35 highest years of earnings, so you want to be strategic and not overinflate this, as some people do. In terms of what are they saving today, they're saving $1,500 per month to a taxable account. They're going to begin this because of the recommendation I gave them. So $1,500, that's $18,000 a year. They have a 401k that they're contributing 5% and 3% to, and then they're saving for their child's college. So with that being said, what I want to go into is what are they on track for, and when does it make sense to do tax strategy and conversions and all of these things? So what I imagine you're wondering right now is, okay, I'm probably in a similar situation. Here I am, got about $1 million. It's pre-tax. It looks like my plan's pretty good. Looks like here I am, I've got 54, and I'm on track for $4.7 million at 93. Well, the first thing I'm going to do, and by the way, when I show you guys all of these things, that yes, there's a lot of toggles here, you can get access to this. So if you go, well, I don't have $2 million, which is the minimum to work with us today, you can still get access to all of this right here in the Academy, and you can go ahead and get custom videos in addition to this actual tool I'm going to show you right now. So the first thing I'll do with a couple is I'll say, what if you're unlucky? I'm not saying that's going to happen, but you said you want to retire at 58. What if it turns out markets just don't do well and it's more of a balanced approach? Well, how does that change the plan? Well, it's a big difference. I mean, it's 1.8 million fewer dollars from just shifting your growth rate from about 7.5% to 6%. They're still okay, but that's the first toggle. But what if they go, Ari, you know what? Company stuff changed and we no longer want to work here. The politics, everything about it, it's just not what we first thought. Well, now all of a sudden we're running out of money. So want to make sure that when you're looking at any retirement projections, these little assumptions, they have big impacts and you don't want to do it wrong. So let's assume I said 57 instead of 56. Watch the plan. Well, now all of a sudden they're okay, but they're just making it to the end. Versus what if they said, no, we're open to investing aggressively. That this doesn't bother us, but we want to retire earlier. Well, they're okay, but you can see that extra year of work just by 1 year or 2 years makes a big difference. So I will joke with people, and you can see it on the screen here. Now all of a sudden it's, hey, we're on track for a good amount of money. So I'll joke with people and say, I'm the meanest financial advisor you'll ever meet. And they're like, why, you just do this for fun now? I go, no, I don't want you to run the risk of running out, but I also don't want you to go, hey, I'm 85 with $15 million. Why didn't I retire earlier when I had enough money to do so? There's a fine line there. So when we're doing planning for clients, we really want to do some stress testing. And so an example of just seeing that for yourself here, before we get into the real conversion and tax fun, which I promise is coming in just a second, is I like to run projections like this. What if you were to retire and just get unlucky and markets go down? I'm not saying that's going to happen, but what if Social Security is reduced or inflation goes up or your returns don't do what you'd think they would do? Or taxes go up because brackets are about to do that, or you live longer than you think, or healthcare costs go up. What if you're just unlucky? How does that change the plan? Now, I don't just do that for the sake of doing that. I do that to show clients, look, what if all of these things happen? You're still not going to run the risk of running out. And they're like, well, I'm worrying needlessly. Other clients go, you know what? Based on this, I see you're confident, but I know me, and I'm going to just feel better working that extra year, knowing if these things were to occur, I'm not going to be in a bad spot. So this is the type of planning that I'll be doing with clients. Now, when it comes to any planning here, it's really cool to have a tool like this where you can go, you know what? Nope. Turns out I don't want to spend $6,000 a month. We're only going to spend $5,500 a month in retirement because we determined we overestimated our expenses. Well, that makes a big difference to your plan. So the point here is whether it's retirement expenses or shifting healthcare, where instead of maybe it being $6,000 a year each, it's $2,000 a year each because we're able to be strategic with our planning here. Well, now all of a sudden we decrease our healthcare expenses. Now, ultimately, they're still spending what they want to spend, and now they're on track for $6.6 million. So they might be like, look, I'd rather work a year less if I could. And this is the type of planning that we will be doing with clients, and this is a tool you might find value in. So with that being said, I'm going to reset this to the original plan. So now you're wondering, just like this couple, I'm sure, hey, what tax thing should I be worrying about? Because right now it's all pre-tax. If it keeps growing, aren't I going to get hit with like RMDs, and how does this work? So I'm going to show you a real example, and then I'm going to show you how to understand if you should minimize your tax bill and how you can actually do it. So here's a real couple on the screen. This is a couple I work with. So real people, just blocking out their names. This is their income today. So they are retired, this couple. They're 59 and 57. And I said, hey guys, how much income do you need in retirement? They said, we'd love all in vacations, travel, healthcare, $10,000 a month. I said, great. That's $120,000 a year. You have $224,000 coming in. How does that sound? And they're like, I don't know if you're a good advisor because that's like too much money. Like I told you I didn't need that amount. And I said, well, it's really not up to me because you just inherited this big account from your mom. You have to sell stock so that you get to live off of this money, and you have rental income and you have a pension. So you have a lot of moving pieces here. And they're like, okay. And I said, how does 500,000 sound? And they're like, hey, are you not listening? Like, we don't need 500,000. I'm like, oh, I'm listening, and the government doesn't care. And they're going to force you to take out more money than you'll probably ever need in the future. And they're like, well, what do you mean? And I said, well, we want to be strategic with all of our tax projections. And what I want this couple to worry about is only one column. So if you're using this software right now, or you have access to this, there's one column in here, and you can see this is the exact couple we're talking to right now. $215,000 is coming in the door, and there's a column here that says planned distributions. These are RMDs, which means you're going to be forced to take them. Doesn't seem like a big deal, but watch what happens at 75. So this couple's got some time. We have till 2044. But what's going to happen is they're going to have Social Security. They're going to have to take out a certain amount from their portfolio. It's going to start at 103,000, then 115, 127. They might need there might be $300,000, $400,000 coming in the door, and they're like, look, I don't need that. After their expenses, even if we adjust it for inflation and pay our taxes, there's still this column on the right, guys. This is all money that gets taxed at your highest marginal bracket. It's leftover money that they couldn't spend if they wanted to. So to me, and this is important to understand, some couples start freaking out here. This to me is a definition of success, one of them, which is, hey, you're now in a spot where because you invested well, you're going to be forced to take out more money than you'll ever need. It's pretty awesome. At the same time, you want to be strategic, and what you're wondering is, hey, should I do that Roth conversion thing that people talk about? And that's what I'm going to show you guys now. So what we're looking at here, this is a conversion table. And quite simply, all we're looking at here, because it looks fancy and it's not, I promise, all these different lines, these are tax brackets. So this little blue line, I call it cyan. I don't know if it's cayenne. Remember like the printer, cyan, cayenne. I don't remember, but you get my point. The green here, 12, 15% bracket. The tan here, 22% bracket. You can see when I zoom in here, it's going to, you see the little slash, 22% slash 25%. Those are the new brackets that are going to be coming in. So that's why it says that there. We could turn on other brackets like 35%. You can see it way up here, but it's just not applicable. They're not going to be in that bracket. So that's why we're doing it this way. Now, this couple, what they're looking at, quite simply, the blue that's being filled up, the ocean color blue, that's income. So income's coming in the door. That's just coming in the door. And you can see if more income comes in because their side income does well or they get a raise, well, that increases. And then you're going to see it decreases. Then it shoots back up. So the reason it's shooting back up here is because now all of a sudden they have those required distributions in Social Security, and they're maybe spending less than their first few years of retirement when they were really loving travel. So they're wondering, should I do Roth conversions? And just an example here is if they were to do Roth conversions and fill up the 22% bracket, so this orange line here that I'm following across here, and they were to be strategic as to when they do that, it would add about $427,000. Now, this is very real, and this is why most people talk about conversions and go, wow, this can be very powerful, because you can see it can be. You are able to say, I'm happy to pay a little bit in taxes today to avoid paying a lot in the future. That's the value of doing this conversion. It's almost like you saying, and I have this right here, this is one of the coolest gifts I've ever received. It's a photo and it says cauliflower. Let's see if you can see it clearly here. And it's cauliflower. So I know I just held up the shirt for you, but if you want to see the full post here, it is true. I have the best supporters. You can see 3 weeks ago I got this. I kind of give my story on cauliflower and you can see this here. And you guys are awesome. So my point here is cauliflower is me saying, I want you to eat a little bit of vegetables, just a little cauliflower, not a crazy amount, so that when you're 75 or 80, you're not forced to only eat cauliflower. You're going to want steak and pasta and salad. You're going to want different things. But if we're not strategic here, you're going to be paying a lot in taxes in the future. So I'm saying just eat a little bit today. That's what a conversion is. And so watch what happens if we don't do this well. I just want you to watch this number for me, $427,000 more dollars. That's if we're really wise, we do good planning. Watch what happens if I increase that just a little bit. Oh my God, $2 million fewer dollars. So sometimes people come to me and they go, Ari, I already did a conversion. You know, they say with a little attitude. I'm like, cool. I wish you did nothing at all, because now we have to try to fix the mistake of you over converting unnecessarily. And they're like, so I should have done nothing? I go, in your case, yes, because you converted incorrectly. Other people come to me and they're talking about doing a conversion and is it going to add a lot of value? And sometimes I go, yes, it can add literally hundreds of thousands, nearly $1 million in value. So it's completely dependent on your plan, your strategy. And the coolest thing, in my opinion, about this specific tool is if we go back to the plan and they determine, no, Ari, we were wrong. We want to spend $7,000 a month in retirement. $6,000 is not enough. No, we told you $6,000, but no, we want $7,000. Well, that changes the plan significantly. But turns out they go, I'm willing to work another year so we can actually spend $7,000. So we just want to spend more. That's our preference. We refresh the plan. Yes, they're okay. Oh, sorry, 56. Change that to 59. You can see here, if they want to work a little longer to be able to spend more, well, I'll often encourage that. But what does that mean now? Well, now they're spending more, they're working a little longer. Well, now that impacts the tax strategy. And so all of a sudden, the whole strategy is shifted because they're working another year. What does that mean? Well, if they're working another year, that's one less year to do effective Roth conversions because we're filling up the brackets. At the same time, it's one less year that your portfolio needs to support your income, which means it keeps growing, which means your pre-tax accounts are going to keep growing and your required distributions are going to be even larger. So sometimes I'll tell a client, hey, if you want to keep working, great, but I hope you really love it, because all you're doing is not allowing us as planners to start beginning these conversions, which might actually yield you more money. And they're like, oh, so by me working, I'm just kind of adding to a future tax burden anyways. I go, sometimes I'll say, you know what, based on what you want to spend, all these conversions here, it's not going to make sense for you. And I want you to actually consider something else. And they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. So the point here, today's episode, this is just all about tax planning, a real case study for someone who's going, hey, most of my money's in a 401k. I'm in my 50s. Help me optimize. So if this was helpful, once again, we have the Academy here. You get access to the same tools that I'm going through with you right now. If you go, nope, I want to work with you and your team on an ongoing basis, right now we have that $2 million minimum to work with clients. That's where we feel we can add significant value. So I encourage you to reach out if that is you and you're looking for next level guidance. That's it for today, guys. Thank you for liking this video, commenting, and I invite you to subscribe.